born in Toronto, but then, I was only there for like 2 years, so honestly, I don't remember any of that because I was so young. But most of my time was in Mississauga. Like when I was younger, I was very, very shy. I kind of got a little bit better actually when I started streaming, because then I had to talk a lot. I had to talk all the time. So that was like probably when I was like 17, 18 is when I started to get a little more comfortable. But way before that, when I was a kid, I was shy. The only people I talked to were people that were my friends that played games with me.
Probably in the beginning he was a little bit shy, but I think now it's handling this really well. And he's smart, he's polite, gets along with everybody.
It was more so a funny story for my dad. He just I just learned how to walk. Okay, so I'm not gonna remember this. I learned how to walk, and the first thing I did was run. So I ran straight into the corner of a wall with my forehead, and that's how I have a scar on my forehead, and that's how I got a scar on my forehead.
Harry Potter.
And I was just bleeding like crazy, and my dad was freaking out. He didn't know what to do, He was just panicking and took me to the hospital and whatnot. My dad thinks about it now, and he just thought it was hilarious.
Still got the same problem with Mike in-game. He just never walked. He's just always running around.
Elementary school, I was pretty good. Yeah, elementary school, middle school, I was doing all right, just doing the normal stuff, being decent. High school was a little rough for me. That's my teenage years where I just kind of started to not care as much.
As soon as he starts high school, he starts not behaving the way he's supposed to. We're talking about grades. Besides that, he was good. But, the grades were kind of a little bit poor.
I went by just barely in high school, but middle school and whatnot, I did normal, I guess. Yeah, so in middle school, I didn't have too many friends, honestly. I had 3 in middle school, 3 or 4, and it was just my gamer friends. And I still talk to them to this day. Besides that, everyone else knew me as the gamer.
He's a gamer through and through. He's just like Skadoodle. These guys will sit there and play a game until they beat it, until they master it. And albeit we're all gamers, everybody involved in this are gamers, but these guys, they take it almost to that level where it's just like a fanaticism, and they have to win at this game. They have to beat it.
I don't know how they knew. I don't really remember.
Bags under your eyes.
I think so. That's what I was going to say. I think
tired.
that was what I was going to say. They just could see that I was a gamer. I didn't really care about how I looked, honestly. I just kind of showed up, did what I could, and then I went back. Oh yeah, and I also always had a portable console back then. Always.
Oh, snap.
So if it was a DS, or it was mainly a PSP.
Yeah, PSP.
Yeah, and I always had new tech. I had some crazy MP3 player that played video. It was just weird. My dad was just huge on building computers, so every year he'd have a new computer.
No, I love games. I love computers. I build every single computer we own, and I was a big time player, not professionally or anything, just for fun. And I love games, and I stay late some of the nights. And since he was really tiny, I was putting him on my lap and, let him do whatever. And then I introduced him to Counter-Strike because I like that game. And he picked up so quickly that after a couple of months, it was pointless for me to play with him because...
Yeah, my relationship with him was great. It still is great. We just played a lot more games back then. Now we don't play because, well, he's not very good. Yeah, my dad literally watches every game. And whether it be an online or an on-LAN match, he's always watching. Even if it conflicts with his schedule, he'll wake up in the middle of the night and to watch it, always. I don't think he's missed a match. I really don't. Even the ones that we pre-recorded, that we don't play live, still watches them.
I even make time for it, unless the only thing that will interrupt is work. Besides that, no, I'll get up middle of the night if it's different timing, let's say they play in Europe, I'll get up middle of the night just to watch.
But yeah, he'll always message me before and, saying good luck, wish you the best and whatnot. And he always messages me after, whether it be, great game, you guys are amazing, or you guys are still amazing, but a little bit rough there. A little bit rough.
Still amazing, but maybe I should start for you guys.
Yeah, he makes jokes like that all the time. But yeah, he's always messaging me and always watching.
Like my dad.
Yeah.
Do you guys need me to step in here and make some plays or what?
My mom was pretty chill. Overall, my whole family was chill. They weren't too concerned about how much I played games. But yeah, my mom didn't really have much to say. She thought it was odd. She was like, okay, she's playing a lot of games. It's cool. I guess it's better. What she thought was it's better than him growing up, going outside, and just like
Getting in trouble.
Yeah, getting into trouble, exactly. So they split probably when I was like 11 or 12, I think, probably around 12. That was kind of like an impact because I always was moving, but how I heard about it was, well, I mean, I was smart enough to know that it was happening because they were just arguing every day. And then just one of these days it turned into a terrible argument, and then my mom left, and then she was gone for like a few weeks. So at that time I knew like, okay, well, this is definitely a split right here. Like I know it. So at that time it didn't really affect me too much. It was kind of, you know, kind of crappy to not have both parents in the house and whatnot. And obviously my dad was sad. I didn't talk to my mom for a little bit. So that was really crappy at that time. But once they actually split is when I started jumping from, you know, living to my dad's house, which was that he had the house that I was currently living in with the, you know, the 5 computers and whatnot. So he kept that for a while, but he couldn't support living in that house alone. So he eventually sold the house, and then they split the money, 50-50, the house money to each other. And then that's when my dad got an apartment, and then I moved into my first apartment. Lived with my dad for a little bit. It was the same, you know, same idea. I still had 3 computers because he still had all those computers. So I still had my friends. It was close enough to where I used to live. In middle school, actually, this teacher hated me. You know, like what was the grade? Like 7 or 8.
They were a console player, you were a PC gamer?
No, they hated me because like my parents were really chill, okay? So I could easily be like, hey, you know, I just don't really feel like going to school today. Is it okay if I pass this one day? And, you know, I take advantage of that, do it like once a week, maybe sometimes, just like silly things. I wouldn't miss too much school, but it was enough to make the teacher upset. The teacher got really mad, and then she called my parents and tried figuring this whole thing out. They thought like they weren't raising me right. And then eventually it turned into an argument because my parents got upset. You know, why is she saying stuff like this about my kid and whatnot? She basically, if I kept going this route and just like, you know, missing a day of class or every week or two, if I keep doing this, obviously it's going to affect me in high school, which it did. Granted, it did. But then she told my parents like that I was going to be a failure in life, and I was just like, oh my God. So they got really mad and defensive about that. So that was the only teacher that didn't like me, just because I missed some days of school. No, I was a good student. It's just I took advantage of some days off.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I moved from my dad's to my mom's, honestly, I didn't even know it was gonna happen. At that time, that was the first year of high school, and honestly, I was rebelling. I was rebelling really hard in school, and I was just skipping days a lot, like way too much. So I guess my mom was getting sick of it. So then it's almost like I thought I was getting like a treatment, but at the same time it wasn't. So my parents decided to send me to Cuba with my cousin and my aunt and whatnot. So that was in the middle of the school year to go for 2 weeks or a week and a half. I'm not sure, but it was in the middle of the school year. But I was already like flunking so many days of my first semester that, you know, it wasn't that big of a deal at that point. So when that happened, I went to Cuba and I was like, oh, this is great. I came back from Cuba, I went to my dad's house, and all of my whole room was just empty. There was nothing there. It was all gone. And I was like, what happened? Where's my stuff? And it was my mom's place, which was a little bit further away.
And then the decision was that she's got more time and she will look after him during the period of high school.
So it was all moved properly to my mom's place. Everything was set up, ready to go. And I mean, at the time, I was like a little bummed because I kind of got away with doing whatever I wanted at first there.
At your dad's?
Yeah, I got away with doing whatever I wanted. And my mom was just like, she was not okay with that. You know, she was going to be a little more stricter on me, which was good. I needed that, which was gret. So I ended up moving there. At first, I was kind of like, for the first week, I was kind of like, I don't know if I like this, but I had no choice. And I just kind of got used to it, and it was chill. It was good. I first played CS:GO during the beta. I'm not sure if it was free or you had to buy it.
What else were you playing at the time? Just out of curiosity.
Okay.
Digression.
At the time, I was playing WoW. Okay, I still am playing WoW a little bit. Dude, okay, I played so much WoW back then. No, we're not even talking about
Okay, anyways,
it.
yeah.
We're not even talking about that. Back to
CS.
CS.
Just
okay.
curious.
So it was like 2012, I think, is when the beta came out, right?
Yeah.
I played the beta. My friend actually bought it for me because I was over Counter-Strike at that point. I was just not digging it too much. I was playing WoW and just going to school, doing my own thing, and I was just having a good time with that. So I didn't feel like giving Counter-Strike Go a shot because I was so disappointed with Source, Counter-Strike Source.
Yeah.
So I was so disappointed that I was like, there's no way this is gonna be good. Eventually my friend bought it for me, he gifted it to me. I was like, fine, I'll try it. The beta was pretty bad, but I still had a good time with it. It was fun to play Counter-Strike again.
Yeah.
But as the updates came out, I kind of followed it and just kept playing, and it got better, and then I started to love it again.
When did you first start noticing that you're actually like doing well, like good? Because I know you played like open intermediate in 1.6 a little, right? Did you get to main?
I got one season of main, just one.
So when did you notice in Go that you were playing pretty well?
I noticed in Go that I was playing pretty well. It mainly had a lot to do with streaming, because everyone would be complimenting me when I stream. And then when I'd be playing these 10-mans way before Rank S was out, there was these 10-mans, and I was doing really well with them. But I noticed probably about main, when I think I got second place in main or third or something, I played really, really well. And when professional teams, or at that time they were called invite teams, were looking at me and whatnot, that's when I knew I could go far in this game.
How did you come up with the alias Shroud?
Come up with the alias Shroud, okay.
How did you come up with your handle?
Well, my handle before used to be Eclipse, and how I came up with that was just, I feel like I was in a pub back in 1.6, a public server, and I saw someone with the name Eclipse, and I was like, I'm stealing it, I want it, I like it.
I like it, I'm taking it.
So, I mean, you could do that, it's the internet, come on. I took the name Eclipse, and when I started playing CSGO, Eclipse was taken, so I just used M Eclipse, M for Mike. And then there was this time where I was playing on an open team, and our name for our team was Eclipse Gaming, and I just thought it was weird because everyone thought that I was sponsoring the team or something because I was streaming at the time, which I wasn't. So I was like, screw this, I'm changing the name. I don't really even like this name anyway. So I searched synonyms of Eclipse, and I had like 3 names that I linked to my friends, and they picked one. They all picked Shroud.
I have no idea. I didn't even know what that means till one day I checked the computer and I typed Shroud and I got the explanation. So, oh, that's what it is. Well, kind of makes sense for Counter-Strike, but it's really unusual, but it's cool. But I had no idea where he come up with it. Actually, I never asked him, actually. I don't know.
The main thing for me was checking if Shroud was taken on ESEA. And Shroud was not taken on ESEA, so then I was like, that's it, that's my name.
That was the birth of Shroudy.
Yep. So I first started streaming, oh boy, it was probably like 2011-ish. I didn't have any viewers. I streamed probably for a year with 1 viewer, and that was myself. I did a consistent, like, I was streaming like 12 hours a day, and I had no viewers, and I did it for at least like 6 months, and I still had no viewers. And eventually I started getting viewers, but that was because of Counter-Strike. And the reason I started streaming was because of Summit. I was watching Summit play, and back then it was like Warzy. And I was watching him play, and he had like a couple hundred viewers, and then he kept climbing and climbing and climbing, and it was just how much he streamed. It like inspired me. He quit his job and whatnot. It was just, I was like, I want to do that, but I couldn't for the longest time because my internet wasn't good enough. So the second my internet got good enough, I instantly started streaming.
You moved again or what?
No, it was just like.
Just the provider in there.
Yeah, the provider like changed and they upgraded, and I was like, yes, I streamed.
So when did you first start to realize you were becoming a popular streamer? Obviously the numbers grow, but like sometimes numbers fluctuate.
Yeah, I feel like I wasn't really too concerned about numbers back then, even when I had like 1,000 viewers, because it could just be like hit or miss, where you just get, whether you get hosted or just like one day you spike up to a crazy amount of viewers.
No one else's stream.
Yeah, so just something odd. So I felt like I was a pretty good streamer when I got partnered with Twitch. So when I got my subscribe button, and I could do ads and all that stuff. Yeah. Mainly because it was so difficult to get it back then.
Yeah.
I got declined 3 times. I applied 3 times. I got declined 3 times. So that was really depressing. I almost quit. I almost quit on my third one. But then I just...
First time's a charm.
Yeah.
So at what point of the streaming did you actually realize you wanted to become a pro? Just because you were getting recognition? For me, that's part of what it was. But.
Yeah, the recognition and seeing how far I can, like, it was mainly to see how I can do and how I can compete against these top tier professional players. And then once I felt like, I could play as good as some of them, I wanted to keep playing better, better against the Europeans and whatnot. So yeah, it was probably that.
Just proving yourself
Yeah.
against the best.
Yeah.
So then I remember you joined Exertus, right? And then Manajuma. Were those your first like semi-pro? And like obviously neither of them you had a salary yet, but you were invite on.
Yeah.
So talk to us a little about those two squads.
So Exertus I joined right after my main season. I was really good friends with Flom. I still am good friends with Flom. So he gave me a shot. We did a little tryout for like a week or two. I ended up joining the team. The season started and we didn't do so hot. We went like 0-4 or 5 right off the bat, or 0-6. And then I was kind of worried. I think we were last in the season. And then Manajuma's messaged me, and it actually took me like 4 days before I gave him an answer because I didn't want to leave. It was my first invite semi-pro team, so I didn't want to leave them and screw them over. They have no fifth player. So it took me a while to do it, but eventually I figured, I have to do this. We're not doing so well in the season. I feel like I have potential. It was actually great to be under like the leadership of Urkanji. It taught me a lot of different things that I wasn't familiar with on Exertus. Just standard stuff that everyone should know, but you don't really know until you get a good leader to teach you these things.
So who actually was the first to reach out to you to join C9?
It was my ex teammate, which was Deborn.
Oh yeah.
Deborn was messaging me, and he was getting the messages through one of you guys. I don't know who it was. So Deborn, I didn't even know I was going to join the team. I just finished the regular season with Manajumas, and then a week after, Deborn messages me and says, "Hey, do you want to join Complexity?" Which is Cloud9 now. And I was just like, of course, yeah. And I ended up joining because of him. I didn't even talk to you guys. Deborn did all the talking. I ended up getting in a voice with you guys, and I started talking to you guys then.
Before we get into playing with us, what was your first reaction from like friends or people who knew you from the CS scene? Your parents?
Oh God, my friends were so hyped when I told them about the idea of joining Complexity, because they were all 1.6 fans. They were all fans of you, and I was a fan. And I was a fan.
Yeah, we'll
of
talk
you.
about that in a minute. That was funny.
So they were just like super hyped. They're super excited. Then when I finally joined, they were more like excited than I was, which I didn't think was possible. They were excited. I didn't really tell my parents that I was joining a pro team because they didn't think it was like, I don't know. I didn't tell them for a little bit because I don't think they knew enough, and I didn't feel like explaining it. So it was probably like 2 or 3 weeks after I joined you guys that I told them that I was on a pro team and I was going to be traveling to Germany. And then they were just super stoked. They're like, "What, Germany?" My dad was so excited because he used to live there for so long.
Oh, really?
He was telling me to go to different places and whatnot.
So yeah, how was that? How long did it feel for you to like fit in with all of us?
It probably took a couple months, like a couple events for sure. Like that first event, I felt still like a little bit out of place. I didn't know any of you guys. Obviously, I was super excited because I was rooming with you and I was playing with you.
Teaching how to get free hotel breakfast.
Yeah, I was,
You remember that? We walked up. That was pretty funny. I was like, they'll ask your room number. Just say someone's room number. It'll be fine. You've been on C9 for about a couple years almost now, and we've went through a handful of roster changes. Could you talk about some of the ones that stood out the most to you?
I'll say the most surprising roster change for me was the very, very first one. Was when Hiko left and the way that whole went down. That was really surprising. But the one I feel like that impacted us the most was when Sean stepped down and he left, because then we went from having, the best IGL in North America to having no IGL. So that was like a really rough time for us. You started calling for a bit, and we had our ups and downs with how that worked.
Didn't like sitting there like Sean did as much. Yeah.
No, yeah, I mean it was good, but it had its ups and downs. But yeah, that was definitely the biggest roster change. There was obviously others like Shazam and Semphis and all those changes when we got Ryan and Tyler. That was a pretty big one too, because that's shifting 2 players, so that was pretty big. But once we got comfortable with that lineup with Skadoodle, Freakazoid, me, you, and Sean, once we got comfortable, and then Sean left, that was very impactful because we were comfortable and we were on that team for a while.
Yeah.
My role throughout all our rosters kind of changes a lot, but now I kind of feel like almost like a support in a sense.
But you're like a hybrid.
I'm like, yeah, exactly. I'm like, not
Well,
like,
we all are kind of hybrids of everything. Right?
yeah, everyone could kind of do whatever besides op because I'm not the
I'm
greatest.
support
opper.
lurk, you're support entry.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like
You're
a
more
support.
going in the front.
Yeah, so it's like everyone has.
I'm gonna just take this answer for you. So this is what Mike. Kidding.
I mean, yeah, you pretty much nailed
No,
it.
no,
So
but yeah,
I'm kind of like
it is vague.
yeah, like a hybrid. I support and entry. Kind of sometimes I'm second in. It just depends on the strat that we're doing and whatnot. Changes the way everyone plays.
He's very machine-like, right? So if he goes in second or third and he knows where everyone is going to be, the mechanics when it comes to his movement, when he's aiming, he's going to be very good at finding the shot on a player where he knows where he is.
I think Shroud's strengths as a player is his movement and his aim, because on our team, I think our goal is to set him and Tyler up in a post-mine situation because his movement is so good.
He goes into a bomb site and he kind of has the layout mapped out in his head. He's going to be ready to go and he's going to be very deadly.
The chemistry at a game is great. I feel like everyone gets along. It's fantastic. Everyone's chilling. And in game, it gets a little rough sometimes, depending on who we're playing. If we're losing, if we're winning, everything's always great. It's like that. It's like that with every team, though. If you're winning, you're always great. But if you're losing, there's going to be people are going to be upset. There's going to be a lot of frustration and whatnot, tension. I have my moments when I'm upset with how I'm playing, but
Yeah.
I don't tend to
internalize it.
Yeah,
mostly.
I don't tend to take that out on others and whatnot.
Mike's strengths as a player is hitting domes, hitting headshots. Really snappy sometimes with his aim, really like crispy, like snapping to like certain points. People's like heads is really pristine in like some moments in games. Just very like some clutches. He sometimes like flick to a random spot, but it'll be on his head. He one taps him, and it's like, how did he do it? I don't know. He's insane.
I thought the concept of moving to the U.S. was great because I've always wanted to. First of all, I've always wanted to live in California. I don't know why. I just love the weather, I guess, maybe. My parents were, especially my dad, because I was living with him at the time, he was a little bummed because it was just me and him. So when I was leaving, I told him I was leaving, he was kind of like, he was happy for me, but he was kind of bummed at the same time because he talked to me a lot and whatnot, and then he kind of lost that for a little bit.
I had no problem with it. I missed him. I'm bored. I got nothing to do, and nobody to talk to, and nobody to play with. So kind of it's got a more effect on me than him. He's happy. Hey, I love it. If he's happy, I'm happy.
I feel kind of bad because I ruined the All-American lineup in a sense.
Yeah, you're killing us here. Dude.
So when you look at the flags and whatnot, you see the 4 American flags, and then you see the 1 Canadian, and it just like I feel
At
kind of
least you're
bad.
still North American.
I'm still North American, yeah, but I just feel kind of bad. I honestly am kind of hoping one day to live in America long enough to get a citizenship and get one and
Honorary American.
rock that American flag. Rock that American flag. I'll still have my Canadian one, but I want to rock the American flag too. A memorable moment that first came to my mind right here, right now, was when we were in an airport. Oh man, I don't know where it was. It was on our way to Sweden though. And it was when we were streaming in the airport because Sweden just has the greatest Wi-Fi ever apparently, and we were streaming on our laptops.
Oh gosh.
And you were just walking around the airport. I was walking with you. You were just rapping. I was wearing your green shades. I looked like an idiot.
we're all hunched over my laptop walking through. I got a hood on. Everyone was just like, "What are these guys doing?"
Oh my god, that was hilarious. I feel like it's still a little bit about proving myself. I feel like I have proved myself, but you can never just stop wanting to prove yourself because I feel like Counter-Strike's such a weird game where it's you can be the best in the game like some players for a couple months and then someone else replaces you and it just keeps changing. So you just have to be constantly aware of what's happening in the game and just keep trying your best, trying to beat the best. So I feel like that still motivates me, beating the best teams in the world, trying to become the best team in the world. If you really are trying to become the best, you have to watch the best and learn from the best in terms of watching demos, studying. Let's say you play a specific position on CT side, you're gonna want to watch, quote unquote, the best player for that position on that map, and just kind of see what they do, see how they interact with their team, and see how they
move
see what
around.
happens when
Yeah.
the enemy team does whatnot.
So how's CS:GO shaped your life then?
CS:GO is literally like everything right now. You know, when I'm streaming it, and I'm practicing it, and I'm playing all the time. I don't have time for any other games, so like it means a lot to me. I don't know if it's a realistic goal, but if I could be a pro for as long as I can, or as long as I want to or whatnot, I would love to eventually kick back into streaming and doing that full time, and seeing how my audience would be when I play other games, not just Counter-Strike. Kind of play the games I want to, new releases, whatnot.
He could burp on stream and say, "Excuse me, sorry," and then it would be at the top page of Reddit within 10, 20 minutes. No problem. How it is that, I don't know. Maybe it's his viewership. Maybe it's his fan base that he's built up within this whole pigeon community he has as his subs. But they're almost at the level of cult-like. These people love Mike. He's just a likable dude.
So after playing professionally in CS, I'd probably want to see if I can pursue that and live the stream dream for a little bit. And if I can't do that, then I would want to still work in the industry, whether it be, I don't know, working for a specific peripheral company, or just some
design.
kind of working still in the gaming scene. Game design would be
Shroud is
insane.
game development.
That'd be insane, but I don't think I'm up for that task.
You could be, man. I've seen you. You just gotta put your mind to it.
I feel like if you're chasing the same dream, I want to say never give up, but also like don't do what I did and give up school for gaming. How
You think you could have done both?
yeah, try to you can mix both worlds easily. You can do that easily. Everyone does it. I just
lazy.
kind of was being a rebel teen, and I just skipped the first semester of my high school, which is a really bad idea. Don't do that. So still focus on school, but you have time to focus on both. You have so much time when you're younger, so get both done.
Utilize it.
Yeah, utilize it. Yeah.
All right. Stay in school, kids. This has been Jordan, aka Nothing, interviewing Michael, aka Shroud for HTC. Thanks for watching, guys. We appreciate it. Hope you found some good insight into Mike's life. If you have any more questions, comment them or tweet them at us. Either way, pound it out. Thanks for the interview, dude.
Thank you.
See you guys later.